Solo Showdown's one of the most popular game modes to play, so today I'm going to talk about the best way to run a Showdown match with every brawler. As Shelly, your goal is to typically proceed to the center of the map somewhat early on, getting power cubes you find on the way. Always keep in mind that bushes are your best friend, and you don't need to navigate the whole map hunting players down just for a kill. Lurking in the bushes to surprise kill an enemy can be frowned upon, but it's still a strategy if you're trying to gain trophies. Either star power is fine, but in most maps, I'd encourage using clay pigeons to still be a long-range threat. As for Nita, she's generally not the best Showdown pick since she takes 5 ammo to open power cubes, and just as many hits on brawlers to fill up her first super. But with this in consideration, it's a good idea to not approach or bother other brawlers like Edgar, but maybe find some tanky units to farm his super off instead, as Bruce is key to her offense and survival. Her super can be used on both offense and defense, and the stun gadget is a great deterrent to any Edgar jumps if you can react fast enough. With Colt now, you are suggested to take a less aggressive approach because the overabundance of assassins in Showdown makes it dangerous for him. A good approach for him is honestly just scanning the outer regions before proceeding in, as his preference to remain long range makes it a not so good idea to be towards the center of the map, since any sort of pinch can end the game for you. Wall break is important in Showdown, so I'd highly recommend Silver Bullet. With Bull, he's pretty much always a charge to the center style brawler. He's tough, deadly up close, and now he's incredibly useful with that stun gadget. The grassier the map, the better. But generally, his strategy is to farm his super somehow, and from there he is a deadly unit because he is completely capable of using a super plus gadget combo to eliminate any brawlers, and generally he's pretty capable of getting the win. Brock is similar to Colt here. When you play him in Showdown, don't rush into the center too fast, keep your distance, remain on the outside, and then proceed in slowly, but always keep high pressure on anyone in your range. Both gadgets honestly work for him because one has great offensive capabilities while the other lets him break away from assassins if needed. With El Primo, the best thing to do is run into the middle and spin. I'm just kidding, that's like so 2020 Brawl Stars Showdown. With Primo, you need to find a way to fill your super, whether it's taking damage and surviving or bush camping and making enemies, because no matter how you fill it, that turns you into a unit that can go win the match. Once you have it, it becomes party time for you because you jump, slam, punch, flip, and take down the enemies. Barley is a very hard brawler to win at Showdown with. Pretty much any assassin can kill him, meaning that you have to tread lightly. If someone's in your range and knows you're there, attack. Barley is a 5 on offense and 1 on defense, and it's in your best interest to use your best characteristics. Maybe you'll get second place. Poco at all costs must stay away from Edgar. Even the least intelligent of the Edgars will easily eliminate you from the competition. If you play Poco in Showdown, you must be toxic. In my experience, that's how all Pocos ever act in that mode. I'm talking spin on the enemies before you take them down because your DPS makes them take forever to execute a brawler. With Rosa, you usually want to just proceed to the middle and get some power cubes. Fight some other close range brawlers, and as soon as you catch someone lacking in a nearby bush, it's time to slow them and hunt them down. Use that gadget generously because it's the easiest way to bring a brawler into the range of her thorny gloves. With Jessie, it's never a bad idea to pour out attacks into a power box near the start, especially as other brawlers approach them. You can get free chained attacks and fill supers, and that is of course very important to survival. With Jessie, you obviously want to avoid assassins, but if there's other long-range brawlers you can find, keep high pressure but don't get too close. Her slow reload speed makes her vulnerable to third-party threats, but if she gets a turret down, you could keep it alive for very long with Energize. Dynamite is probably among the deadliest of the throwers in Showdown, solely due to his satchel charge. If you want a cheap and free kill early on, you do totally have the option to sneak attack an enemy by hiding near a power box. As soon as you land satchel charges, unload all of your ammo onto the hit enemy and you're set. If you have a super, you can use it offensively if you please, but remember that it's a very strong counter to Edgar's, and if you leave it at your feet while he jumps, you might just make it look like he was the one dyna jumping. I don't think it's a wise idea to play Tick in Solo Showdown, so just be as annoying as humanly possible to all brawlers around you. Deal damage, run around kicking and screaming. Just don't bother the wrong people because they can strike back a little too easily, and for the sake of Showdown, I'd recommend keeping his head for self-defense. Honestly, 8-Bit's a pretty solid Showdown pick, but it's not the best idea to play mega aggro on the enemies. He's more of a stand your ground brawler, but his really long range makes him capable of showing the enemies that he's there from really far away. Combining a super with the teleport gadget is, however, a great way to play aggro if you toss it over a wall and then punish the brawlers on the other side. Rico is okay on both offense and defense, but one of his most important Showdown tactics is to keep heavy offense on anyone in range. Especially the melee style brawlers, it's for the best that their health is as low as possible before they get too close close to you. His super and gadget do very well at keeping him alive, as the right placement can vaporize pretty much anyone in the danger zone. For Daryl, if it's not Showdown Plus or anything, honestly I'd just casually get power cubes, even if that means farming the exterior zones until your super is full. It doesn't take too much of the match to be filled up, and once it's there, you can basically look for prey and then charge to take them out. If you have one super left, it's a better idea to just use it as well and then let the charge up work again. Nothing's forcing you to rush players though. Don't enter a fight that you can't win. Penny in Showdown is a completely doable brawler, but there's a lot of mistakes that she can make. I gotta bring out the bush camping strat again, and in her case, find a bait power cube box and let another brawler fall for it, so then you can use her splash cone to wipe them out. Even if it doesn't work, you still get a lot of damage and supercharge, helping your survival. Salty Barrel and Master Blaster can save her in close range combat, but her other abilities still do have some Showdown use. Carl is one of the most versatile brawlers for Showdown because he can do just fine in both the center of the map and working his way from the outside in. In either case though, I'd recommend using Flying Hook because that gives Carl amazing defense potential on top of his offensive alternative. Don't get too carried away though, remember who can counter your super. Jackie is one of those brawlers that you just want to charge towards the middle with. In maps like Feast or Famine, she's very capable of scoring all the power cubes in the center, but she has an incredibly slow reload speed, so it's important to ensure that all threats are cleared before you make the move. Running around visibly won't work in your favor, so Jackie should remain to be a D1 bush lurker in solo Showdown. As Gus, if you have the opportunity to fill a supercharge and fight a brawler or retreat and get a power cube, always take the first. Stat boosts aren't as important for Gus, as you want to fill his spirit bar and get the super to protect yourself from the assassins. That way, if they jump on you, they can still be knocked back. With Bo, you can kind of have fun with it by bothering others until you have a super, and then you can set up a trap and wait to see if somebody gets blown up. Other than that, he's kind of vulnerable to a lot of brawlers, but that of course can also be undone by a good old snare. Ems is really good if you quickly use all three of her ammo in rapid succession, as the cumulative damage can quickly delete most threats. You can play conservative or aggro with her, but luckily for you, both playstyles are accompanied by a gadget. When you're using Stu, the best way to win a solo Showdown match is with Exit Lag, the sponsor for today's video. As you can imagine, a brawler so capable of spamming supers is heavily dependent on not being screwed over by bad ping. That of course is resolvable with Exit Lag, the mobile app designed to lower ping in your favorite mobile game titles. Exit Lag works with over 1,300 mobile games running both Wi-Fi and mobile networks, and it's designed to lower ping, reduce packet loss, and provide you with more overall gaming stability. Lag, disconnecting, or unstable ping are all much more common than you'd imagine, and those are the issues Exit Lag is designed to cure. By enabling Exit Lag and aligning app and game regions, you go from barely having a playable Showdown match to getting a 6-win streak with Stu, all because you can torture the enemies by spamming supers. Remember though, it's not just about lowering ping, but it also reduces lag spikes. No more being disconnected due to idling. I think that's something I'd be pretty okay with. So join me, and then enjoy the experience when you can finally play your favorite games much more smoothly. Thanks Exit Lag for sponsoring this video, and use my coupon code for 15% off when you're getting these prestigious features. Stu can be played pretty well with an aggressive playstyle, because his whole supers thing makes him amazing at escaping threats as well as becoming a threat himself. Dashing through the enemies and being able to break down anyone is such a good Showdown characteristic. With Piper, you want to keep max distance from everyone for all the obvious reasons. Typically, you're not going anywhere near the middle of the map, but instead, you'll be going for early kills as well as finding some power cubes on the outside of the map. Given that there's power cubes, Ambush can honestly be her main star power here, because that damage boost as well as the 10% per cube can grant her the ability to one-shot brawlers in some situations. For Pam, she's one of few that's incredibly capable of actually running around and shooting everything. Up close, she clears power cube boxes without struggle. From afar, she can pick away at a brawler's health, and when she's jumped on, she can suck the scraps off of the attacker and delete their ammo. Once she gets a super, that's more power for her, and good placement with it can give her a location to powerhouse until the end of the match. Frank is also kinda able to go anywhere because of how dang tanky he is. Not only that, but it takes one brawler to step into his range for him to possibly get most of his super, and once he has that, he becomes more of a threat to the point where it's actually a bad survival decision to approach him. The pull gadget can guarantee a kill in many situations, and overall, his brawler build actually makes him pretty solid in Showdown. BB in Showdown can be situationally good, you just have to get a grasp at when and where to charge other brawlers. On the contrary, her latest buff to the home run meter lets her keep off attackers, and her incredible speed honestly just makes her a fun Showdown pick. B is kinda lame at taking down power cube boxes, but she's yet another example of a brawler who comes really close to being able to one-shot others. If someone comes in your range, you want to provide a constant stream of offense to make sure they don't get too close to her, and either of her gadgets work just as well. With Nanny, she's super fragile, but power cubes are extremely important to her. With that being said, it's okay to take a slower start and get some power cubes before engaging in combat. Once you have your super, I'd suggest only using it if you know you can get a kill, as merely damaging enemies and losing your supercharge is not a good idea. Her super can also come really clutch on defense, but overall, be careful when controlling Peep because that does make you very vulnerable. On Edgar, well, be prepared because you're easily in the top 3 most used Showdown candidates. Any approach works, whether it's scanning the outside for power, diving into the center of action, or even going straight for another brawler. In the end, just don't make any foolish jumps and honestly, you should be fine. Aside from that, be careful where you roam before your super is charged because it might prompt others to take advantage of your short range and try to pick you off. With Griff, I'd suggest packing the piggy bank bomb and making your way near the middle of the map and use him like the controller brawler he is. Depending on the layout of the map, you could create bait lands to light up the enemies as they travel the routes and of course blast more of the map open as you fill up your super. With his super, he's one of the greatest assassin counters close up, so do keep that in mind. Grom is another one of those brawlers that you just don't want to be using in Showdown. If you get the chance, try to use the 3 attacks gadget to secure an elimination. Other than that, I'd recommend building a strong offense to anyone who steps into your range, assuming they know that you're there. Bonnie could totally get away with being an assassin. I'm making this video with like a strategic and patient way to get first place in Showdowns, but for Bonnie's sake, she can be annoying and charge others to fill her super and then self-launch into them and delete them. If you want bonus points, you can honestly just stay in Bonnie form for a bit longer for an instant takedown method on Showdown boxes. Gale isn't too bad of a pick because he's able to shut down Edgars and Kits like it's nothing. Not that he kills them necessarily, but he never lets them take control. Using this is good because you can use your Gale build to attack and charge the assassins, but get them away as soon as they try to fight back. Try to avoid long rangers though, they're your worst nightmare. Colette's in a similar boat here, but first she needs 2 things, push it and a supercharge. That's her tactic of being aggressive with brawlers. Also, I should mention, power cubes scale really weirdly for brawlers who have taxing attacks, so consider grabbing as many as you can, especially for a brawler like Colette. Belle is a tough Showdown pick to continuously be successful with, but she's still totally usable. A good practice for her is to be annoying, hit some cool trick shots, and fill your super before anyone has a chance to hunt you down. For survival's sake, threaten them and warn players with your super, but don't blindly use it. If someone charges you, hit them with the grounded, and that really keeps your survival chances up. Even if you lose, they've run the risk of being marked forever, and that might deter them from going for you. Ashe, in these situations, is really good at double using first bash to speedrun full rage. That, of course, is if you're against someone in range. Considering that, it's good to know that it's not a bad idea to target other short range brawlers initially, and if you get a super, you can easily use it to protect you as you charge towards some specific brawlers. With Lola, I kind of feel like you want to take a similar approach as Colt or something, because she's no good if she gets in the middle of too many brawlers. She does amazing damage, however, so if you keep heavy pressure anytime you can, you'll do just fine. The only thing I encourage though is to not push towards other players too much. With Sam, given that he starts with his super that is connected to a really cool sucky gadget, it's not a bad idea to catch someone off guard and charge them within the first few seconds. They won't have any super themselves, and they might be even wasting ammo on boxes already. After that, use your knuckle busters generously, but don't make the mistake where you use them and lose them. With Mandy, I don't really see her being used in Showdown, but I kind of want to say her approach in the mode should be the fun one. By that, I mean play as aggressive as you can without getting yourself killed. Charge a super, use that super, blast someone out of this world. I mean, it's a good idea to get rid of everyone before the map gets tight and packed. Maisie could surprisingly be a decent assassin-style brawler in solo Showdown if you could hit your shots. I know, anyone hitting their shots can be good, but Maisie hitting all 3 shots with a fast unload speed can do 9,000 to 10,000 damage. Her dashing gadget comes in very handy, and her super of course has uses on both sides of battle. With Hank, walls are your best friend. A great move for him is to proceed towards the center of the map, and as the storm closes, you can pinch enemies who must move in closer to you to dodge the gas, and that forced barrier is when you have a chance to hit them with your attacks. Aside from that, if you find one of the few brawlers that Hank outranges, you can very easily chase them down and bully them with your attacks. For Pearl, take it easy for a bit and try to get the heat meter filled before engaging with other brawlers. If you want to destroy someone with burst damage, you might as well keep the burst count to a minimum. On top of that, use the flame gadget almost every time you get it. Once you get your super, you become nearly unstoppable against the Edgars and Kits, and that's the greatest thing in Showdown. Playing Larry in Showdown isn't the best move, but if you do, play him like you're Barley. I'd suggest taking any free power cubes you can get, because you will need to make up for the disadvantage you spawn with once you see the matchup. For Angelo, feel free to take advantage of his ability to hover over the water. Fire. This can open routes enemies don't have, and while you do that, you can provoke enemy brawlers and back away through these routes to farm super, hyper, or even some kills. If an Edgar or a kid is nearby, that water becomes even more helpful. With Barry, you are probably gonna get like 10th place. Avoid all assassins. Get power cubes if you can, but if you can't, find a nice wall to hug as you splash ice cream all over the place so people don't walk near you, because that would just be a pain to deal with. As Shade, proceeding towards the middle is a pretty solid idea. That gives his passive ability the biggest chance to farm super, and on top of that, you can build up some power cubes or get early takedowns if you're smart with the situation. Once his super is ready, use it like you would in any game mode. Shade is the aggressive brawler, not the prey who needs an escape mechanism. Meeple is super slow at breaking showdown boxes, but his most important thing is probably getting a super. Either gadget works for him, but when nothing else is in consideration, you should probably be conservatively sending attacks to anyone you can, because he is capable of dealing so much damage. Even if you don't use your super to kill, you can use it to control and get brawlers away from where you don't want them to be. Trunk is kind of like Jackie, where you want to get to the middle almost right away and be prepared to dwell in bushes. Every time you engage in big contact, I'd encourage using the heal gadget to really help your chances of winning. Against other tanks, victory can be pretty difficult, but make sure to remain territorial within your dirt. That's another gain of taking control of the center, less migrating throughout the match. For Mortis, let's play it the way all the other Mortis mains go. Try to get a kill in the first like 10 seconds. I mean, he is an assassin, so it's totally doable, just pick the right gadget. For the rest of the match, farm power cubes and pick off fights while other brawlers are weak, and you very easily have a chance of getting first. With Terra, it's urgent to slowly get a super throughout the duration of the match. If you're going for first place, try to stay alive, defend yourself, play offense, and get a super ready by the time there's only one other player left. If you get one significantly before them, it's all up to you whether or not you want to use it. Gene is not normally gonna win you showdowns, but if you are playing him, be as annoying as humanly possible with his attacks, keep hitting the enemies, because I will say that his burst damage is kind of impressive when he can Spirit Slap for 2000 and then hit all 3 attacks. Just hope the other person isn't faster. Max is a pretty good early encounter brawler, able to run around and engage in combat right away, but as long as you don't get overly aggressive in an effort to get a kill, you could do just fine. She has 4 ammo, and you can definitely go and act like you do by attacking possibly multiple enemies at once. Just stay on the move and don't get yourself pinched. With Mr. P, a good practice is to keep hitting enemies over walls and abuse the crap out of the More Porters gadget. Generally, you don't need to dive in and get a kill because most likely you aren't. So instead, work your way to a super and just drop it somewhere where the storm won't destroy it, and then just keep other brawlers away from you, damaging them and forcing them into other dangerous situations. Sprout is another brawler you don't really want to use in Showdown. A good thing to do with him is just target the lowest health enemies first, because those are easily your only possible victims. I mean, you're not going to win against a Frank, so let someone else take him down. With Byron, take advantage of your long range. The more open the map, the better. If you see the Edgar, poison him from afar so he can't just jump on you and finish you off. If you get attacked in close combat, a floor drop super and booster shots could do you wonders. Unfortunately, you might not be alive, but at least they won't. As a squeak, avoiding Edgars is a very good first step. They counter you hard. Second, a wind-up gadget can in many situations reduce the amount of attacks it takes to defeat a target. You can imagine how important this is for Showdown, so take advantage of it. Use walls wisely though, and don't get yourself too close to the center of the map early on. Believe it or not, Lou's damage is extremely lackluster. Because of this, he's not a really good Showdown pick, but if you do take him, you're gonna want that star power that slowly weakens the enemies as soon as you freeze them, so you can share the feel of having a low DPS. Aside from that, once you have a super, it's using that and a gadget that makes you have a really good offense, very much capable of securing a takedown. With Ruffs, you want to get the supply drop somewhat early on. It's extremely similar to getting 2 power cubes, but it's also capable of lighting up an enemy when it lands. After that, be sure to use his bounces to the best of your ability and remain aware of the short-range threats in your proximity. Buzz, as another assassin, is a natural at this. Given that he could possibly have a huge range to fill his super with, it's a good idea to make your way to the center and work on some power cubes while you charge your super off of the competition. He's good at harvesting boxes and especially good at fighting over boxes, and with this strategy you could get as much as 4 cubes and a kill at the start, which is definitely results I can't complain about. Fang though, hot take, he's the worst assassin at solo Showdown. Not saying he's bad, not at all, but he's kind of just more of a group takedown guy instead of a 1v1 expert. But again, he can still easily do a 1v1. Just for him, take it easy, get some cubes on the outside, and then once you have a super, you can join in on the action with the classic super tap, gadget tap, and win. Watch out for Shelly. With Eve, you kinda wanna play it similar to the Angelo, because Amiko can't jump on you when you're over water. Hatchlings don't get more health with cubes, but they do increase their damage. Regardless, you wanna play a tiny bit more conservatively with her, and not spend all of your time chasing brawlers down, because that's just how you get yourself a 9th place loss. As Janet, it's generally an okay idea to attack people so hard it's like you're rage baiting them to charge you, because as soon as they push you, you have a super filled and you're ready to escape if you need. Her evasive abilities make her a great contender for 2nd or 3rd place, but it's gonna be a little hard to get 1st. If you can have your hypercharge filled by the end of the match, there is your best chance of victory. For Otis, you want to stick around way on the outside of the map and build up power cubes, spewing blobs at anyone in your range. Use that to get a super, and then it's up to you on how you use it. You can chase and launch it if you want to attempt an assassination, or you can just conceal it to use as assassin repellent. In the end though, using his firepower is the best thing you can do to ensure survival. As Buster, you can honestly just grab a bush or something right at the start and immediately pull an unsuspecting victim, because a lot of common Showdown picks will fall for this. After that, you could go around and gather power cubes, and then only try to engage in offensive combat if you have the pull and gadget handy. Otherwise, dodge and survive. With Gray, you can realistically go anywhere, because when there's an issue, you can just go on and teleport away. He's insanely good at dealing damage from afar if you have good aim, and once you have the enemy down to 1 to 2 shots, that's when you go in to finish them. He's arguably worse at facing high HP enemies though, so do keep that in mind. RT is a naturally made Edgar and Kit counter. With that being said, chase them down and bully them. They deserve it. A majority of the closest range brawlers will lose in a fight to RT, which is good to know because you can kind of provoke some brawlers without having to face the consequences. Unfortunately though, RT takes annoyingly long to break down the power cube boxes. Willow's goal is to immediately get her super. It is without a doubt the best part about her in solo showdown, as it can not only protect her from a threat, but it can also eliminate them in the process. Where she uses it is extremely risky though, because anytime another brawler sees it, they're just gonna rush in and kill you, so be mindful of that. If you can creep around and make it till showdown, then the victory is as good as yours. For Doug, you kinda wanna play him like Jackie. He's such an easy target for so many other brawlers, so unless you find someone like a cornered Mr. P, you're probably not gonna be playing that aggressive. In the meantime, just try to get a ton of power cubes so you can at least look somewhat scary. Chuck and Showdown? Okay, so I love Chuck and all, but this is gonna be hard. I'd say just make a train setup based on the center of the map, and from there, roam and super and make chaos in the center. That way you can maintain control of the map all the way until the storm closes in. For Charlie, spam spiders on the weak, hit all the attacks you can, and fill your super for a solid defense mechanism. I wouldn't recommend running in all that fast, but always keep pressure on the brawlers near you because you don't want them to get too close or to continue targeting you. With Miko, his ammo steal star power can get a kill in so many situations. I'm not sure how normal it is, but I prefer the gadget that increases his range, as it allows you to rush attack innocent victims quickly. I strongly advise you do not waste any ammo on the approach to other brawlers, because if you don't eliminate them in the 3 to 4 attacks you got, you might just not do it ever. For him, I highly recommend not wasting offense on power cube boxes early on, because it does really take forever. Melody has it interesting because she can trigger her passive ability through power boxes. That way she can constantly supply the music note mess. She's really not that good of a showdown pick, but if you do use her, just be smart when you do your rushes. As Lily, you have the best escaping gadget in the game, as well as just one of the greatest offensive gadgets. Use it. Lily is much better at farming power cubes off of kills instead of boxes, but don't turn away a box or two if they're free. Your ultimate goal with Lily is to get a hypercharge, therefore if you push your way to showdown, you have one of the easiest possible 1v1s that exist in all of Brawl Stars. Clancy though, this one would be tough. You have to basically hit as many shots as possible without fully engaging the brawlers and try to get at least stage 2. Once you're there and with a super, then you're finally somewhat safe from brawlers like Edgar, but it is still a pretty hard setup to get with only 1 life. Mo is hot garbage at getting power cubes depending on the box location, so for him you need to just work and get your super charged fast. You don't need to use it right away, but if you want to, you totally can. It usually ends up in your favor. As Juju, it's not a bad idea to stay in the grass for a lot of these attacks. That way you can hit enemies from so dang far away. Even better, park next to the water so you yet again have an escape route that is hard for them to follow. With that, your goal is to pretty much get yourself a Gree, and for this situation, you're probably better off using it offensively than you are trying to save yourself with this one. Go and get some kills. Of all tanks, Ollie is probably the last one you want to have as a solo showdown pick. The best you can do is possibly hypnotize someone with an attack, but even then you better be hitting all 3 shots, because otherwise the enemy enemy fighting back might just take you down. Most likely, you're not getting a hypercharge as Ollie during the game, so don't even think about using that. Finks is low-key a unit at Showdown Brawl Stars. His lesser used gadget is able to sleep all threats and prompt a Finks escape maneuver, and altogether his offense remains to be pretty powerful. Against power cube boxes, don't auto-aim your attacks. Aim them like so. With Lumi, you do need to make sure the others don't go and exploit her fragility. The ice gadget comes in very clutch, and honestly, if you get a super, I'd suggest trying to line up a root combo so that you can take someone down. Obviously, the less brawlers the better, and you want to act on that fast before the map is too tight. For Jae Young, you want to remain in speed mode pretty much all the time. If a threat approaches and damages you, immediately tap the super and then immediately tap the damage gadget before attacking. This gives Jae a tiny health boost, then area damage, then the strongest attacks he can dish out. Also, there's nothing wrong with getting boxes in the outer rim before proceeding as Jae Young. Ally is built for Showdown. Not so much farming cubes off of boxes, but going straight for another brawler, using her hunter instincts to destroy them. Grass attacks are so incredible for her, and when used on offense, completely auto-aimable, so use that to your advantage. There's not really a point in saving her super, so if you see the target summon, I'd suggest using it and going for the kill. With Mina, stand your ground for the most part. Don't target someone who really outranges you, because that's an easy way to get yourself taken down. Instead, protect projectiles with the dome gadget, and when you find someone you know you can hit with the third attack, strike. She's still pretty good at dealing with tanks and Shellys, of course. With Ziggy, I'd honestly just try to get his super to show the enemies how impressive it looks, because there's nothing else you're gonna do to win. The little evade gadget is probably your best friend here, because other than that, you're bait for pretty much any hungry brawler. I don't really know how to use Gigi yet, but by the looks of it, she's not gonna be very useful without a super, kinda like most brawlers, so I'd suggest just farming power cubes and dodging attacks till you're able to return the fire to the enemies. As Spike, brawlers behind walls are rarely safe. Use that to your advantage and don't let them escape. Fertilize can come in very handy here, especially with just one life, and you can use it to both slow down Edgars and keep yourself healthy, and even go inside the enemy brawlers to attack them for like 5,000 damage. Yum. With Crow, don't waste your time getting boring power boxes. Instead, go make everyone else quit. Toss knives at them and deplete their health, do it to another brawler while they're there, slow them both, and then just get them tortured. Overall, if you can work to a hypercharge by the end of the game, you might just win it all. With Leon, getting 1 to 2 power cubes is not at all a bad idea, because it takes him very little time to do so. From there, try to isolate a player before too much combat goes off, and you could possibly eliminate them right there, or at least get a supercharge. After that, I'd suggest roaming the outskirts of the map and trying to find a target, and then taking advantage and wipe out the isolated brawlers to slowly reduce the player count to 1. As Sandy, play as aggressive and toxic as possible. I'm talking sleep them with the gadget and then spin before you finish them off. Sandy's very capable of destroying brawlers, even Edgars, but it does require a bit of patience. Use your range to your advantage, and honestly, feel free to try destroying a kit. Otherwise, play passive and remember how much of a support brawler you are. As Amber, I'd suggest replicating the Colt and Rico approach, playing very aggressive to anyone in your range. With the right build, you can easily fill an entire super without attacking the enemy, which can obviously be very helpful in the game, keeping 2 puddles near you to keep threats away, or just 1 constant puddle of torture to damage the enemies. As Meg, you can honestly be pretty aggressive in your mech form, because worst case scenario, it breaks but you're still alive. But don't be foolish here, a base form Meg can be an easy target for that dang cat. With Surge, he's honestly one of the best Showdown picks there is. You can choose to either go get cubes or go right into an early fight, and both can end in your favor. He deals extremely high damage, and when you pair that with a quick supercharge, he can be pretty unstoppable against most of the other big Showdown picks. Don't hesitate to use your super with him, but if you're harvesting boxes, just be mindful of your ammo, as if you waste it all at the wrong time, you might have just screwed yourself. For Chester, play him like you would in any mode, but I'd recommend trying to get yourself that stun gadget. With it, you can almost guarantee a kill, assuming one of the million assassins is lurking. Aside from that, Chester's kind of capable of going anywhere on the map, but when engaged with threats, it's a good practice to dish out all attacks in a quick burst, tossing out all of his damage at once. With Cordelius, this one's pretty easy. Whether or not you get power, play it sneaky. Even if you get a super and hit an enemy, there's no rule written that you have to hunt them down in the Shadow Realm. A very solid strategy is to instead hit one brawler with a super and then go land where another brawler is and take them out upon leaving the realm. Remember, you even get supercharged from this since you would have left the Shadow Realm before attacking. I don't really know what to say for Kit. Just use the power cube star power, abuse it, get all the cubes. Just please don't do the suicide super thing where you jump on a random brawler and then a nearby third party brings you both down, because that's just purely not not smart. Even though he's a support brawler, use him like the Leon he is. Probably just one of the easiest Showdown brawlers altogether. With Draco, use your health to your advantage, and if you find someone that you have beat in range, or a lower DPS brawler, just force them away from you by pushing them until they get cornered or pinched by another brawler. After taking them out, continue the process or stand your ground. Just work up to a super that I'd recommend only using if you can fill up in time for Showdown. Honestly, I don't think I have ever played Kenji in Showdown, but he's like still an assassin who has pretty good self-heal, so like if you could work your way around the map to reach a brawler, I'd say do it. He's able to charge others and get a good outcome, but in combat for Showdown especially, I'd just recommend using his super the moment you get it. Don't play into long range brawlers because other competition can easily take them down. And finally for Kaze, use Geisha mode when getting power cubes and navigating the map of course. And any approach really works in taking down other brawlers, and due to how fast her gadget cooldown works, you can somewhat succeed at tricking an enemy enough to be able to bring them down. Just don't play overly aggressive. She did get nerfed. I tried. There's 97 Showdown tips. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and use code JUMBO.